Now, if you had told me during my time as a police officer that I would have an us versus them mentality, I've been like, what are you talking about? I serve the people. I serve the people. And I didn't understand it. I'm telling you, if you're an active police officer, listen, I don't give a shit what you think about me. My point of all the content I do is to put information in front of you so you actually be the best cop possible for you, your town, your village, your state, all of that. And you can't do it without knowing what the other side thinks. The other side can't stand you. The other side loves the Constitution. The other side thinks you hate them. The other side sees you as the enemy. I was on the Anti-Hero podcast on Wednesday. And if you know anything about social media, clickbait is a thing. We want attention. So if you put a full discussion, people tune out. But if you put part of a discussion, well, that gets attention. This was part of a discussion that is up on the Anti-Hero podcast Instagram page from the other day. Into a home illegally, pounded on a door. When the juveniles open up the door, he stuck his foot in there. Mom comes up and says, "No, you get out of my house. He had no lawful justification." I'm fine with homeowners exercising the Second Amendment on you, because at what point, 100%, you willfully, knowingly violate the Constitution, no amount of we'll just take them to court is ever going to fucking matter.
At what point is it tyrannical government? It's got to start somewhere. Tyrannical government starts somewhere. They just don't announce on Fox News, "Hey, we're taking over." Jimmy's not saying anything about shooting.
But I will tell you, it's terrifying to me sometimes when I get on those long stretches of highway where I'm by myself in the middle of nowhere, and I know I'm not liked by agencies and administrations, and it's like, I actually have that feeling, like, will they make something up? And what is your, on the side of the road as cops, we always argue, well, take it to court. Here's your ticket, fight in court. That's okay. It's a traffic ticket. But when you get into like he says, somebody coming in your house or a cop grabbing you illegally, you defend yourself, and it's called resisting arrest with violence, and you go for a felony. And now you have to go into court as a felon and defend yourself from that versus that guy. What does it happen? Oh, it gets dropped and he gets counseled and he goes back to work.
It could be anything from, battery or assault on a law enforcement officer up into you turn the corner, you hear commotion, you grab your gun at your home, and you see your kids looking at you back with fear, and you see a fucking big black boot in the door. Whether or not you will put shots downrange into that door to save your kids, that's up for debate. You'd have to tear apart everything else, but that could happen. And the fact that it did happen, and then there's a cop at the other end of that door where you can only see the toes of a boot, maybe a hand, and maybe a face. Now it's murder on a cop rather than just murder. It's just
you don't think you're going to court for that, do you? Because the other deputies showing up they're gonna let you up. Now here's the deal, and I'm speaking almost exclusively to the police officers today. And if you can, just curb your emotion. Did you hear me use a couple different words in there that actually were prevalent and paramount to what I said? And Mike from Copville OG talked about them. We said willfully, with intent, unconstitutionally, violates the civil rights of the Constitution given you by. We talked. There's a pretext to what we said, and we said it extremely clearly. Did you even hear it, or did all you hear was Dominick Izzo is advocating people kill police officers? I understand, and I'm giving you the leeway of getting it. Oh, they want us killed, all that. I get it. But is that causing the American citizen harm? I want to play a reaction. This is what they did on their open mic night on Counterculture last night, talking about what I said. I believe this guy is law enforcement that they're having on as a guest, but just listen again. Listen again. And I was always guilty of this. And this was a statement I made yesterday as well, too, prior to this, because I clarified this. A video is going around of me accusing me of supporting American citizens shooting police officers. Let me clarify with absolute conviction my statement on this, so there's not a single shred of ambiguity in my words. If any cop willingly, knowingly, illegally, unlawfully, with intention and malice, unconstitutionally violates the God-given rights of an American citizen, and that American citizen is forced or put in a position by the tyrannical, corrupt, criminal cop to use his or her Second Amendment rights, I will support the American citizen, full stop. I think that statement is completely crystal clear as a cop. I think that if you're a police officer and your job is to get facts and evidence and present them to convict somebody in a trial of a crime, you would want to get all the information and you're going to get rid of all emotion. It still blows me away how many of you fail to exercise active listening and you operate on knee-jerk reaction because you think it's fucking all about you. I'm fine with homeowners exercising the Second Amendment on you, because at what point, 100%, you willfully, knowingly violate the Constitution, no amount of we'll just take them to court. Those are my words. If you willingly, knowingly violate the Constitution, everyone who swore an oath to the Constitution, not one single person should ever say, well, now wait a second. It should be 100%. If a police officer knowingly and willfully, with intention, violates someone's civil rights, it should be the most harsh, extreme punishment that cops face. And if it's the hand of an American citizen, so be it. How many of you cops out there keep saying, well, we don't use force on a citizen. They dictate what force we use on them. How does that not apply for the American citizen on you? So I move forward. Sports is ever going to fucking matter.
It concerns me. That's how you're seeing this versus me saying as a citizen now, because I'm not a cop. Well, you come in my house illegally. Do I have a right to defend myself?
That's not what that clip showed or what that argument is.
Here's somebody, again, I don't know if he's in law enforcement. I think he is or he was. That's not what that clip shows. That clip literally said intentionally, knowingly, willfully, literally said it, but they don't hear it. They don't hear it. Even when it's right in front of them, if someone willfully, knowingly violates the Constitution, that's what was said, they don't hear it. They refuse to hear it.
Now, if he would have prefaced it with a tyrannical government, at this point, I believe.
A tyrannical government, again, now I'm assuming he's law enforcement. Who is a part of the tyrannical government? Are police just not part of the tyrannical government? Do you see the Sandy Duncan, Sammy Davis Jr., tap dancing, Gregory Hines thrown in? You cops will do anything you can to avoid taking the onus on. There's nothing. There is literally no one who swears an oath that can deny what I said wasn't fact, wasn't true. It's tyranny. It's tyranny. Founding fathers implemented the Second Amendment to protect from tyranny. When a cop willingly, with knowledge and intent, violates your rights, what are they doing? I'm literally posing this as a question, and you guys still will well, that's not what that said. Do you understand why people hate you? Do you get why you get so much contempt from the public and why it's well-deserved?
I believe in 2A because you have authoritarian government coming into my house illegally, blah, blah, blah. But that clip just shows I respect and agree with using the Second Amendment with cops entering a home, which is complete bullshit.
Again, if this man was a police officer, how many reports did he lie on or not get all the facts and put on because he completely twisted the words that were crystal clear? Do you guys get it? I'm not trying to be a dick, but do you get how fucking earned the hate is that you get? Those were not my words. This was a clipped portion of the video, which is explained in a second. And my words were literally, if a cop willfully, knowingly violates the Constitution, that's a fucking crime. That's tyranny. And then he goes on to say, well, if the government, the tyrannical government goes and unlawfully enters my home, which is exactly what I said. How many people out there in the world have been wrongfully prosecuted because cops twist words, because cops manipulate facts, because cops will, I told you a million times, report writing is taking the facts and the evidence and twisting it to the needs of the cops to spin the narrative they need for a conviction. He just did that. He literally just did that. Has he done this on reports if he was a cop before? But there's more.
Bullshit. I've lost friends.
It was clipped very
in the
well.
line of duty. Yeah.
Well,
I hope
Nick,
the clip is just fucking bad because I don't agree with that whatsoever.
Nick, well, welcome to the world of social media and
So here's a cop who's admitting he doesn't have all the facts and the evidence, and he's going to make a statement. How many times has he arrested people without all the facts and the evidence?
podcasting. That clip was done purposely to drive engagement. I did leave out the part where he was actually talking about a call 2 years ago in South Carolina. It was a fireworks complaint, and the cop was in the wrong. He knocked on the door. Juveniles answered it. He put his boot in the thing over a fireworks complaint and started entering the home, and the parents got all that was said first, and then Dom said something very controversial. The problem is what I'm trying to get a lot of people to do on this network is that if you start with that, people are going to scroll. They don't, and you'll have likes, one share. Reels are meant to be like previews.
The argument was that you're advocating for people to get killed, and I just, even with that clip alone, I look at it like it just, where do we stand? Are we cops, and we believe everything the government tells us? We're going to go in a house no matter what, even if it's a mistake. We're allowed to do it, or does it go back to like the beginning of our country where we said we're not tolerating this anymore? We're going to fight back. That's, I think, what that reel says to me. Maybe I'm jaded because I was involved in it, but I don't see it as bad as some people were spinning it.
Now, I didn't do my total research. I don't know who the guest was. I'm doing this in real time, watching the clip, and I'm assuming that anybody who's brought on that show is law enforcement or military or former. If that's the case, and you twist what the words were, we have an issue, but it's the comments. The comments are actually alarming, and they're all over the place. I keep saying this. If you're a cop and you follow me on Instagram, you need to spread out, and you need to actually go to YouTube or Facebook, Cop Talk Live, and you need to see the arguments the comments make about the Constitution, pro-Constitution. They're anti-cops because they feel that the cops completely violate the Constitution and they're not educated of it. Well, in the meantime, while you guys are Instagram shitting on me and you just can't stand me personally, what are you doing? You're not educating yourself. These are some statements that were made in the comment section that kind of alarmed me. AJ Leon, while I agree with this take, the aftermath confirms an officer acted unlawfully. This is the part that I want to really press home for you guys, especially if you're American citizens. Because years ago, when you guys made the statements that cops are terrified for their safety, they're looking for excuses to shoot and kill people, all this, I didn't agree with you. And I thought you were lying. And I thought you're paranoid. We don't do it because I never looked for a reason, right? I'm speaking individually through my eyes. It's not, but I did have the mentality of, well, it's law enforcement. It's us versus them. I know how it is. Listen to the statement of this comment. I think it encourages people to take up arms against the police prematurely or under incorrect circumstances, which could jam themselves up. Just a thought, but an interesting discussion. My comment in return was, yet we have cops who are shooting and killing unarmed citizens. Aurora, Colorado had 2 this year. Mustang police shot and killed a man over a pair of gloves in his hands because the subject could have escalated his violence. Not did, could. Explain how the life of a police officer holds more value and is allowed to literally killed prematurely, yet you would worry citizens could. In this statement, he's worried that my words, which were literally, I support any American citizen. I'll read my words again. If any cop willingly, knowingly, illegally, unlawfully, with intention and malice, unconstitutionally violates the God-given rights of an American citizen, and that American citizen is forced or put in a situation or position by the tyrannical, corrupt, criminal cop to use his or her Second Amendment rights, I will support the American citizen, full stop. Nowhere once did I say that my statement or comment encourages people to take up arms against police prematurely or under incorrect circumstances, which could jam them up. They don't want to listen. You guys, you police, you don't want to listen. You do not want to admit that the American citizen has every God-given right to defend themselves as you do. But for some strange reason over the last 10, 15 years, it's been, well, we shot 68 rounds into somebody because they could have had a second gun. They could have become violent. They could have this. When I was trained, you could not escalate force unless you had the ability to articulate it. Officer Izzo, why did you pull your gun out and shoot that man with a knife? Because he had a knife and it was in my face. Not, well, he could have had a knife and he could have put it in my face. So again, as a cop, it's okay for the police to prematurely use force that is covered by qualified immunity, and the courts will find nothing wrong with, well, the officer was in reasonable apprehension of their safety. They feared for their life. They're terrified for their life. And the more that you read these comments, especially from the police officers on Instagram, the more you will see you, the constitutional educated commenter, you're their enemy. You're their enemy. I never understood how, because I was it. And I talked about this on last night's show. We were told in the academy, sovereign citizens are the most dangerous people out there, right? You ever cross a sovereign citizen? They pounded that in our heads. Well, I never came across one. What's a sovereign citizen? It sounds like a gang member. It's literally a citizen who, in my opinion, knows the Constitution far better than 99% of all police officers. It's pretty simple. Why is it that in the academy, and as I went on, I was taught to be terrified of them? Why? Was that so I wasn't terrified for my safety? Every sovereign citizen is, because we were told that they're gonna open fire on you because they see you as the armed henchman of the government, and they're not gonna want to go alive. All this, and I've never seen that. I haven't seen, to my knowledge, I've never seen any YouTube footage of a sovereign citizen being pulled over and open fires. If there are out there, I'm sure you guys have put in the links. But the point being is, I found it absolutely amazing how my government made sure that the more educated and knowledgeable about the Constitution a citizen was than me, they were my enemy. These comments speak for themselves. Again, you heard my words. Official Fofo Zero. LE handles millions of calls for service each year. Millions. Show the receipts where this is such a systemic problem. The news shows a few a year, generally on good intention, but still bad intel. The responsibility of law enforcement entity to verify before taking action. Show me the receipts where justifies Izzo's comments. And if this clip was edited to create clickbait, you have the conversation. You are part of the problem, not part of the solution. How hard is it? You're seeing it. It's impossible for police officers to say, yes, you're right. If a cop willingly violates a citizen's constitutional rights, that's completely unacceptable. These men and women are, well, he was only in her for a minute. Did he really rape her like she said? That's their mindset. That is their mindset. And the comments on both of these feeds, TJ Minakirks, this take is sickening to hear. So again, I'm assuming most of the people who comment on these are police or police supporters. It's sickening to hear someone say that an American citizen has the right to defend themselves against a cop who willingly violates their rights. Now, I'm not talking about the First Amendment, even though it does apply. I can't argue with it because I have to take that stand. I'm talking about a cop in that specific circumstance who forced his way into a home, unlawfully, illegally violating the rights of the homeowners and the residents on zero probable cause, zero evidence, zero exigent circumstance. If the homeowners had used the Second Amendment on him, I'm not saying I would encourage them to do it, but if they did, because they were forced, just like the cops are, well, I was terrified for my safety. The bad guy made me use a firearm against him. I would support them. There's no question. No question. But again, it's sickening. Cops are nauseous about you holding them accountable. This take is sickening to hear. and to see the comments in any way agreeing to use violence against police if you believe they are entering unlawfully. Okay. Cops will rip you out of a car if they believe you have a gun in the car. If they believe you have a knife in the car. If they believe you used a turn signal, you changed lanes out, use a turn signal. If you refuse to give your driver's license to them on a traffic stop where there is no rain, but you don't have your headlights on, cops will use violence. But here's a commenter. Cowering in the comment section is a fake profile, of course, as usual. It sickens me to hear and to see these comments in any way agreeing to use violence against police if you believe they're entering unlawfully. So, as an American, you need to understand this as a cop and as an American citizen, why American citizens fucking hate you. Because this is your mindset. Okay, well, no, you don't have the right to protect yourself if I make a mistake and I unlawfully enter in your home because the address was 123 Main Street, but I entered in 132 Main Street. Clerical error. And I shot and killed your dog and really traumatized your kids. But qualified immunity. I learned from my mistakes to triple check the address. 100%. But again, it sickens this commenter that anybody would ever have the audacity to protect their family. I've executed hundreds of lawful warrants. Okay, so he is or she is a cop. Made legal forced entries into residence based on well-established case law. Most of it, if not all, should be all. Of the time of the occupants, believe they were entered illegally, but they could be wrong. And if they decided to use their Second Amendment rights to bang it out with us, they would end up dead or in prison. I got news for you. Number one, if you did it right, then you can condemn those who do it wrong. Number two, little man who's hiding behind a fake profile, you really think that you're not going to come across to American citizens who are superiorly trained than you? When you make that statement, when you end your statement this irresponsibly, and if they decide to use their Second Amendment rights to bang it out with us, they would either end up dead or in prison. Us versus them. Us versus them. So if a family exercises Second Amendment because you guys completely fucked up and violated their rights, you still, no matter what, are going to make sure you die on the hill of covering your ass in liability. You shouldn't have any faith in your cops anymore because this is not an unshared mindset. It's not. You can go to Counterculture on Instagram. Izzo is going to get people killed. For what? Yeah, I mean, yeah, cops should smarten up before going in homes illegally. It absolutely blows me away that the amount of cops, and again, Izzo is just washed up company man who turned salty after he was fired. Tired of seeing him and those other losers who just talk shit about other cops. We know we all know how they were to work with, if anything. Again, you go right to me personally versus the fact of what I said. And I'm going to say it again to end this. If a cop knowingly, unlawfully, with intent, violates the civil rights, the God-given, constitutionally covered, protected civil rights of an American citizen, and that citizen feels pressured, backed into a wall in a horrible circumstances where they are forced to use the Second Amendment on a police officer, the aforementioned police officer who is a criminal now, who is a tyrant, who is a domestic terrorist, I will never not back the American citizen. Full stop. I'm going to tell you flat out, I used to think like you guys, you cops. I used to do the same thing you did. And as time goes on now, and as I start to see more, pay attention more, read more, I was wrong. It's only you versus them, us versus them, because most of the time, if not all the time, the American citizen knows more than you. You're kept in the dark on purpose. You are fed by your department, your government, that the people are your enemy. Everything is a hammer When you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail. You've heard that saying before. I was guilty of it. Guilty of it. My biggest suggestion to you, go over to YouTube. Go over to Officer Dominick Izzo on Facebook and read the comments. Read the comments from people who are absolutely, they want you dead. They want you gone. They want you completely just fired from the profession. None of them trust you. And they're all, for the most part, educated patriots who have case law, statutes, documentation, and experience to articulate the purpose of why they feel that way. I'm going to say it again. I support the American citizen, and the fact that you cops cannot come to the table and say yes proves you don't know the oath you swore to, and you violate it all the time. Hope that makes sense. Be safe out there. If you're a cop and you're miserable, you're stuck working midnights, you got that crap shift where you don't see daylight, all you do is eat crap food, the fast food or even the gas station food, and your body fat's getting shitty, it's getting big, you have no desire to even have remotely intimate time with your partner, you sleep like crap, all that, get your hormones checked. Go over to hp-trt.com. That's hp-trt.com. When you come down here, you can call someone or you can type in all your information where it says, how'd you hear about us? Even if you don't become a client or a customer, type in Izzo20, IZZO20. On the chance that you do, they're going to give you a significant and generous discount for your order. Men, women, cop or not, it doesn't make a damn bit of difference. If you feel like utter garbage, it's time to get your hormones checked. hp-trt.com, hp-trt.com. It changed my life. Hope it changes yours.